If you work for or if you run a nonprofit and you've been struggling recently because you feel like there's not enough money coming in, you don't have enough funds to actually have the impact on the world that you wish that you could, well, stay tuned because this week I'm going to do a special 5-part series on exactly how you can increase the amount of donations coming into your nonprofit without having to increase your marketing budget even 1 penny. Welcome back to the Bonaventure MS Digital Marketing Show. My name's Jonathan, and today what I want to talk to you about is just the reason why I want to do this specifically. So in the past, I've never really done more than just one part into another part, right? A 2-part series. That's been the maximum that I've ever done. But recently I started working with a charity called Food for Life. And Food for Life is the world's #1 vegan food relief charity. So by doing the work with them, we first worked on their social media. Right now we're working on some copywriting stuff with them, redesigning the donation stuff that they've got in place for their website. And just studying all of this, I'm realizing that there's not really any good examples because the first thing I always do when I go into a copywriting scenario or into a marketing scenario is I engage in what we call like market research, right? Super basic. Everyone should do this all the time where you start to scope out your competition. And I was thinking to myself, like, it should be easy because there are a lot of food relief charities. There are a lot of people out there who are providing meals. So all I need to do is check them out, see what the best charity organizations are doing, and I should have an idea of how we can run with this charity in the right direction. But after spending hours looking through everybody from the biggest people like PETA and UNICEF all the way down to lesser known charities, I wasn't really able to find any good direction because it seems like everyone just kind of throws stuff together. The bigger guys rely on their reputation, right? Because they built that up before the whole age of digital marketing started. I remember when I was in school and we would have like the orange UNICEF boxes that we'd walk around with on Halloween and people would donate. So you've got institutions like that that are just so powerful because they've relied on all of these old school marketing tactics for many, many years, and now they're just in a position where they've brought that following onto the internet so they don't have to do too much. But then I also checked out the little guys, and it seems like they don't really know what they're doing. So I was forced to really consider, one, a broader range of research, and also to try and figure out what really translates from every other type of copywriting that I do. And I can pull like what pieces of knowledge and what common threads are there between selling something to someone and just selling the idea of a donation to someone. So I found that obviously there aren't too many common threads because when you're selling something to someone, a product or a service, you come in and you say, hey, I know that you have this big pain and you can give me $2,000 and I'll solve that pain for you. Or I know that you have this big goal in mind, give me $2,000 and I'll solve that, or I'll help you move towards that goal. But in charity, you're not really going out to people who have what we call a bleeding neck pain point, right? There's not anybody who's like, oh man, I've got all this money and I need to give it to a charity. I just need to wait for the next guy to email me. Whoever does, I'm giving them that $2,000, right? It doesn't work that way. But we can think of it still in a very similar manner, where when we are doing traditional copywriting, oftentimes, actually, I'll stop myself. So there are a lot of different copywriting frameworks, right? One of the most powerful that I really like a lot is PAS. So that's problem, agitation, and solution. Now, in a normal copywriting scenario, what this would be is like, hey, I realize that you are a nonprofit and you don't have enough money coming in. It must suck to have all these projects in mind and not being able to fund them, right? You're struggling every day just to pay yourself, just to pay your staff. How are you even gonna like move towards your mission at this rate and you have no idea what you're doing wrong? Well, let me tell you, here's a 5-part video series where I'm going to teach you exactly how you can do that without increasing your marketing budget whatsoever, right? So that's a regular PAS. If I was trying to sell you a service, like if I was trying to be your copywriter, my solution instead of that is hire me to do everything that I'm about to tell you to do. Now, when it comes to charitable donations, what I noticed is that we can still think of it in the same framework, but instead of being self-centered, where the problem is my own stuff, we can move it into just the world of others, where now the problem becomes there are people who are suffering, there are people who have whatever issues. Agitation is like the old Alyssa Milano commercials where you see all the kids starving and you see the flies just eating the skin off of their face, right? Super gross, super graphic, but you get the point. You're agitated, it moves you emotionally to the point where then she says something along the lines of, hey, by the way, if you want to donate, then here's the number, or send the mail, or whatever it was, right, in the 90s. So we can translate that same framework, and actually there's an even better framework, like a 6-part framework that I'm going to talk about in the video that's coming out tomorrow. So I'll leave you on that. Just know that there are, I have realized that there are common threads, and I'll walk you through exactly the copywriting process if you were to do it from a frame of I have to work for my charitable organization rather than I'm trying to sell something expensive. And hopefully by the end of these 5 parts, you'll have a very specific idea of what you can do to move yourself closer to that goal of increasing your donations without having to spend a bunch more money on your marketing. So on that, I'm going to leave you. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comments, but watch the next videos before you do, because that's going to answer a lot of the stuff coming up. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.